So, Sierra Leone.
11 years of civil war killed at least 50,000 people and forced 500,000 from their homes.
Diamonds, right?
Rebel fighters enslaved locals to dig for so-called blood diamonds.
Natural disasters.
We've just been to the site where the mudslide happened on Monday.
The number of the missing is still unknown.
A crowd of people had gathered near a fuel tanker that had been involved in a collision. A bus full of people nearby was completely burned.
Health crisis.
Go to the deadly Ebola outbreak.
The world is losing the fight against Ebola.
Rape and gender-based violence.
5-year-old Khadija Soko was raped and killed in Sierra Leone in June.
On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I therefore declare rape and sexual violence as national emergency.
What if I told you there is a different Sierra Leone than what the media has led us to believe? This is Sierra Leone. Good morning. Today is day 35 and honestly I am extremely tired. This is partially my own fault, but last night it started downpouring and lasted just till about 11 p.m. and I was awake after that till about 11:30 and now it's about 2:30. So got about 3 hours of sleep, which is not ideal to walk 12 miles. But the nice thing is that we are starting early and we should be done between 7 and 8 a.m. And after we have some breakfast, I am gonna take my mattress that's in my tent, toss it on the ground, and fall right back asleep. So, with that being said, I'm gonna get everything packed up, do some stretches, try and wake up before we get back on the road.
Remember that case, last week we get a case in Bunce Street.
Good morning. It is day 36 of the 520 mile walk and this morning I'm feeling pretty sick. I don't feel as good as I have most of the trip. This kind of reminds me of very early on when I had a couple colds. But I do hope that I can beat this by Wednesday and be feeling good by the end of the week for the final walk into Freetown. Yesterday, we only walked about 11 miles, and then when we got to town, we had some breakfast, and then I just crashed and slept. I was woken up at 2 p.m. and brought to the community ceremony where they were celebrating the opening of a new health clinic, which was super awesome, and the town chief was very receptive of what we were doing and our purpose behind the walk. So it was really great to be a part of that, but after that I just came back and kind of slept, kind of took a day to relax and try to recover, which I hope to do again today. In a phone call I had with my mom yesterday, I was kind of saying that I'm struggling a little bit to, you know, make sure that I'm shooting the right things every day and make sure that I'm shooting enough to kind of make a cohesive storyline through this entire walk. And I just kind of feel run down and a little tired, but she did remind me that I've been on the road for 35 days, living in different places every single day. And I'm sure, like many of the people on our team who are not feeling that great, we are just completely run down. And we've walked over 480 miles, which is a lot for the body, and we have done a great job amid all of our circumstances. So I'm gonna do a little bit of stretches, drink some water, and try to begin feeling a little more awake so that I can feel ready to walk again today. We are 30 miles from Longi, so we're gonna break it down into 3 10-mile days, which is super easy, super chill. We're starting a little later today, around 4:30, so we'll probably arrive between 7:30 and 8 o'clock to our final destination. And as soon as we have breakfast, I'm probably heading right back to bed to get some more sleep. So we are 11 miles into our walk today, and we got to the village where we will be sleeping tonight. And along the walk today, you could see a little bit of it, but there was a railway that is being used by the Chinese, as well as a massive Chinese compound. Just on the side of the road, we saw tons of Chinese workers, which just kind of shows the influx and influence that the Chinese has here in Sierra Leone. And when I talk to a lot of Sierra Leoneans about their opinion on it, some of them are positive because it creates jobs, but a lot of them do say that this increase of Chinese involvement in Sierra Leone is causing a lot of problems, both environmentally, socially, as well as economically, because the country is accepting a lot of loans and a lot of deals with the Chinese government for development. It is something that could cause a lot of problems into the future. I have my own opinions about it, but I'm going to leave them be for the time being. I just think it's interesting as we get closer to Freetown and on this side of the sea before we get to the ferry port, how many Chinese businesses are here and how much is being done and operated. A big plate for a big man. I'm telling you, some of the things I see here in West Africa, I really start to question reality, because that's one of the wildest things I've ever seen. I'm gonna go lay down because I think I've had enough for the day. Good afternoon. So after all that snake business, I went inside the tent and I completely passed out, which I think was very much needed. I still feel kind of asleep, but we are heading to this place called Pepe, which I think I'm saying it right, but it's an area that you take to get to Bunce Island, which is a huge island that was once the 3rd largest slave port in West Africa. I have been there once, my first time in Sierra Leone, I went there, but I took off from mainland Freetown. I have not taken off from this port. It's about 8 miles away, and Hindalo figured since we're this close, it'd be good for the rest of the team to see. I also haven't been there, so I'm curious to see what it looks like, and I think we'll be close to the ocean, which will be nice to see, and it might be cooler, but with that being said, I'm gonna drink some water, try to wake up. The sun is really strong right now and I still kind of feel confused and I'm getting my bearings, but we're gonna hop on a motorbike and cruise that way.
the love where I shower you. You come to beautiful me after that. Hey, those two. Shoot.
Wait, this one bus island we're going to give us.
So we have made it to Papel, and just off in the distance right there, that island, I've been there before on my first visit to Sierra Leone, and that is Bunce Island, which is one of the biggest slave ports in all of West Africa, third biggest, I do believe. And you know, only a couple hundred years ago, that was used by many European colonies to transport humans as property to different parts of the world. And when I did visit, it was a very powerful experience, very interesting, and you know, I'm very glad I had that experience. But you know, it's a part of history that is extremely dark and extremely sad, but very important to learn about. And now we are heading further down to see where the cargo is held and where a lot of things get shipped out of the country. But as you can see here walking on the beach, you know, there still is a ton of poverty in this community, as there is everywhere in Sierra Leone. The beach here is realistically destroyed. Just trash and all kinds of stuff, which is very common throughout, you know, all the beaches that I have seen, mainly in Sierra Leone. I know there's some nice beaches, but even these structures here, just very interesting. So we are heading up to the port area, and I will check back in once we get there. So now it sounds like we are actually heading on the boat over to Bunce Island, and I will show a little bit of what it looks like. Probably won't say much, just out of respect, and you know, it's not my place to really give the full story of what happened there, because I don't fully understand it myself. I've only been there once and heard many stories from people who have lived here. But again, it is a very interesting and important place to see, and it's the first time a lot of my friends here from Sierra Leone will have the chance to see it and be there. So I'm grateful for their opportunity to see a big piece of history from their own country.
That's a snake.
Hey, put this man down.
Yeah, is it better?
Hey! Trouble!
I assume I'm up next. I'm very nervous. We're now on the boat heading to Bunce Island. I handed off my camera to T as I was being carried onto the boat, but the footage did not get taken. T is not the best cameraman. But we are on the boat heading. I don't think there's a motor on this boat. I think they just paddle us out there. But everyone is very excited. Oh, just kidding. I hear the motor starting, so we're going to cruise on over. We are back on the mainland and we are back to where we are camping tonight. And honestly, that was a very powerful experience. I feel honestly a little uneasy about it all. I think more so this time than my first time on Bunce Island, and I think primarily because of the relationships I have with my brothers and sisters here, and just kind of thinking about the time of period now that we are born into and how different things would be if we were born only a few hundred years before, and just seeing how powerful of an experience it was for all of my brothers and sisters, and Hindelo speaking about the importance of keeping this history alive and making sure that they remember that this did happen here in Sierra Leone and all across Africa. And so now that we are back, we are going to rest. I still feel a little uneasy from being sick, as well as on top of the experience at Bunce Island. I kind of feel drained, and I'm just going to relax for the evening, have some food, and get some good sleep. Tomorrow, we are heading out again for about 10 to 11 miles, and then we will only have between 5 and 10 miles on our last day into Lungi, and then we will rest on Thursday, and Friday morning, we will head into Freetown to finish this absolutely crazy journey, walking 520 miles across Sierra Leone, raising awareness about rape and sexual violence in the country.